Leah Kohn, Forgive Me, Augsburg, Winter 1944 through 1945. I shudder at the sight of the familiar SS uniform. After the arrival of the new SS officer from Dachau, a concentration camp nearby, our little haven of hope is gone. A radical transformation has taken place in Augsburg. 5 days of fragile bliss are over. The white sheets have been removed from our bunk beds, and now we sleep on bare straw sacks. The food has turned into a nondescript, tasteless mush. The table and the benches have been taken away, and now we eat our food crouching on beds or sitting on the floor in the corridor. And there is Zalafel twice a day. The most painful transformation is in the attitude of our German staff. Their friendliness has turned to curtness, and in some, to animosity. 2 days after the arrival of the SS man, one of our guards called us bloodhound, idiotic bitches, and we quivered with the familiarity of the epithet. Instead of looking at us, our guards started to avert their eyes. They started to shout orders, and some started to carry whips. The commandant of the camp, the Oberstführer, has remained fair. One evening, while shoveling snow in the yard, we discovered mounds in which potatoes are stored for the winter. We quickly dig them up and, hiding them under our dresses, smuggle enough potatoes into the camp to allow each inmate at least one potato. We wash them in the toilet and eagerly await our bedtime. Only after lights out do we dare consume our concealed delicacies. Noiselessly, with utmost care so as not to attract the attention of the guard on patrol, we bite into the hard, delightful skin of the raw potato. But Mommy saves her potato. For Sabbath lights, she says. Friday at sunset, Mommy kindles her Sabbath lights in the carved-out potato halves, using oil smuggled from the factory and threads from our blanket for wicks. But moments after she whispers the Sabbath benediction over the faintly flickering lights, the Oberstführer enters. The room is dark. Only the light from the potato on the windowsill illuminates the tall bunk beds and the frightened faces of the young girls who have gathered to hear Mommy's blessing for the holy day. "What's this?" His tone is exceptionally gruff. He approaches the window and turns to face the cluster of young women frozen in fright. "Whose is this?" No one speaks. Mother calls out in a low voice, "They're mine, Herr Oberstführer. I lit those lights for Sabbath." The Oberstführer's eyes, as they scan our faces, are torches of rage. His voice cuts like steel. "Lights in the window! Do you know what you've committed? You!" He shouts at Mother, "Take these away at once!" Mother slowly picks up the burning potato halves and follows the Oberstführer out the door. At the exit, the Oberstführer turns and issues a stern warning. "This should never happen again." He orders Mother to put out the lights in the toilet and dump the potatoes into the garbage can. Thank God he does not ask where the oil and potatoes came from, and he does not punish us. We are lucky. The holiday of Hanukkah is in 10 days. The incident inspires us to save potatoes for a Hanukkah celebration with lights. But we have learned our lesson. Before lighting the Hanukkah oil lamps in carved-out potato halves, we post lookouts at each entrance and develop a system of warning signals. A miracle comes to pass. For 8 days we delight in kindling lights and singing Hanukkah songs without being caught. Soon after our arrival, the Oberstführer said our uniforms were unsuitable for winter and put in an order for clothes for us. We had arrived in the regulation gray prison dresses with 2 large red letters, K and L, painted on our backs. The letters stand for the word Konzentrationslager, concentration camp. The dresses, coats, and sweaters have arrived. They are lovely, colorful clothes, not sack-like prison uniforms meant for camp inmates, but garments meant to be worn by young women. Our happiness knows no bounds. The new clothes have transformed us from non-entities into people, from sexless, ageless, shapeless digits into girls. The clothes have given us dimensions. Some of the girls brush their budding hair with wet fingers into provocative styles, pinch their cheeks to achieve surprisingly becoming complexions, and assume graceful postures. The effect is quite startling. I have received a pink dress made of soft wool and an elegant warm tweed coat with a sumptuous deep brown fur collar. As I wrap it about me, I feel luxuriously pampered. It has a rich texture and a beautiful cut, and it makes me look like a young woman. It hugs and comforts my thin, long, bony body and makes it feel and look better nourished. In the coat, I look lanky rather than gaunt. The excitement keeps me from falling asleep. As the coat lies at the foot of my bed, I keep reaching over and stroking the soft fabric with my fingers and brushing the soft fur against my cheeks. In the morning, I stand for Zalapel in my new pink dress and then go off to work in the montage wearing it. Mr. Scheidel, the old German civilian who works next to me, stops in his tracks as he approaches. He does not recognize me at first. The smile of recognition in his face, the surprised look in his eyes, reveals the extent of change in my appearance, and I feel like a human being. I feel like a person in my pink dress. My outlook on life has changed. Old Mr. Scheidel's reaction, the reaction of a free individual, a German civilian from the real world, is of paramount importance. His look of approval validates my new self-image. It recreates my world. All the other girls also sit self-consciously at their workbenches and giggle in secret anticipation of Herr Zerkubel's reaction. At 10, Herr Zerkubel, the supreme master of montage, makes his customary, silent, impassive appearance. As he passes among the rows of young girls fidgeting in suppressed excitement, his demeanor remains aloof. His stony face and posture continue to hold immutable disregard of our very being. Our new clothes do not render us visible to Herr Zerkubel. Herr Zerkubel's manner does not dampen my enthusiasm. I sense a change in my old partner, Mr. Scheidel, and that's enough. In the evening, back at our living quarters, I try on my coat again. It's beautiful. All at once, I notice white stitching at the hem of the lining. I look closer and see that the stitches form letters. Leah Kohn, Des. It's a name and a place, a town in Hungary, and the name of a girl, a Jewish girl. These clothes belong to Jewish women. They were taken away from them and given to us. This coat belonged to Leah Kohn from Des. She was tall and slim, just like me, and she loved this coat. That's why she stitched her name into the hem of the lining. Is she alive? Is she now shivering on bitter cold winter days and nights in a thin prison sack while I delight in her warm coat? Or was she taken to the gas chamber to suffocate in agony after having been stripped of this beautiful coat? Leah Kohn's coat is no longer a source of delight for me. It has become an agonizing burden, and so has the pretty pink dress of a nameless owner. I have become an accomplice to SS brutality and plunder by wearing these clothes. I have become a participant in Nazi crimes by benefiting from pillage and perhaps even murder. How dare I wear this coat? How dare I wear this dress? Leah Kohn, forgive me.